You are listening to the Intentionally Inspirational podcast. This podcast is created for hungry entrepreneurs who are seeking motivation, personal development resources, and actionable tips. Now for your host, Jason Wright.
Hello everybody, I've got a very special episode for you today. I've actually got my first group podcast going on. Everybody's in a different location. We've got Crystal Madrid, my podcast manager from the Intentionally Inspirational team. And we've got our wonderful guest, David Gibson. He is from elevationIsAmust.com. David is a speaker, coach, and entrepreneur, and I think you will love the fact that he loves the same things that we do. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I've dug through your social channels and your website, and I've got a little bit of an idea of who I'm talking to, but why don't you share with Inspire Nation your story with all of us?
Well, essentially, my story is this. I'm just an average guy looking to do some phenomenal things to inspire others to do the same. I'm a firm believer that each and every single person has something great living within them. And it's our personal responsibility to begin to tap into that greatness and unleash it to the world. And I'm also aware that there are some things that can potentially hinder us from releasing that greatness that we have from within. So essentially, with everything that I do, from speaking, coaching, mentoring, and any other form of empowerment, it's all designed to help individuals pull out that greatness and essentially become the best version of themselves.
Wonderful. That's actually amazing to hear, David. I mean, I'm sure you've reached out to plenty of people just like yourself who have that dream, who want to do something that they have just deep inside of themselves, but they just don't know how.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just having this conversation with someone 2 days ago, actually, before the Super Bowl. And we were talking about each and every single person is looking for an option. They're looking for an option in life. And in some cases, some people believe that they don't have an option. And so they settle for the life that they have. And this life may be a life of average, a life of mediocrity, a life of fear or pain, or even just living in the past. And with every message and word that I convey, it's really just directed towards helping individuals identify the greater option, the purposeful option, the option of your destiny, and really using your gift and your talent to make the world a better and brighter place.
David, I love everything that you're doing, but where's this come from, man? Were you a 4 or 5-year-old kid and you wanted to do this, or did something happen or not happen in your own life to make you say, you know what, I'm going to do something about this? Where's this come from with you?
Well, that's an interesting question, Jason, because if you would have met me, I would say about 7 or 8 years ago, this really wouldn't have been evident, because I know what it's like to really feel inferior, to feel not good enough, to feel insecure. In many cases, we all have that inferiority complex that we kind of deal with from time to time. But at that point in time in my life, that season, so to speak, that's where I was at. I was living a life of fear. I had just graduated from college and received my undergrad. And just like any other recent college student, I was looking to do, something amazing. I was looking to move forward in life. I just didn't know what it was. I was working a sales position and I was unhappy, to really just describe it at best. I was, complacent. I was comfortable. And it really wasn't tapping into the fullness of my potential. I wasn't using all of my gifts and all of my abilities, but I was afraid to move forward. And I had this idea just pop into my mind to go and speak to others, to be encouraged and empowered to live their dreams. And I literally laughed at myself because, of course, I didn't believe that this was true. I couldn't see it at the point in time. But to make a long story short, I was really kind of just pushed into this area that I'm in now. And I've fallen in love with it. And I found that when you find something that you're passionate about and something that you truly love, it conquers any fear. It conquers any limitations that you create for yourself. It conquers any level of adversity that life may throw at you. And essentially, it helps you spread your wings so you can soar into greater levels in life. And that's where I really just developed this mindset of elevation is a must. Essentially, that means every single day in every single way. You must get better and better, experience daily gradual growth and constant and never ending improvement. And as I set out to become the best version of me, I was encouraged to really just help others do the very same thing, because I'm a firm believer that if you're not growing, then you're not living. And if you're not living, then you're just existing. And nothing on the face of this earth was created simply just to exist, just to suck up air and to consume oxygen. Everything was created for a purpose. It was designed for something significant in this world that we live in. So we have to make it our personal responsibility to improve, to get better, to grow, to learn more about ourselves, to tap into our unique abilities, and to leverage those abilities to add value to the world that we live in. It may be someone that's a painter, they can inspire through painting. It may be an artist that sings or a vocalist that sings. They may inspire through their musical voice. It may be an entrepreneur that solves a problem in the world that we live in. But whatever it is, identify your gift and use it to make this world a better place. And that's, I know I was kind of all over the place, but that's really how I came to this point where I made up my mind I wasn't going to settle.
You know what? I have to say, David, I really do respect that, because I think a lot of people today on, the younger generations, especially, what they need to know is that just by going to college and, finishing your degree or whatever it is that you're going for, it might not be the end. That's not just what you're going to do for the rest of your life. No,
Absolutely.
you go to learn, you go to meet other people, you go to experience, and that doesn't have to end just with school. And
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you brought that up. It's great to hear that you were able to take that and turn that into something that you love and have a passion for now.
Yeah, and even with that being said, you summed it up with that one word, experience. Because for me that was what college was. It was an experience. In many cases, life is all about the experience. And really, I'm a firm believer that the experiences teach us things, but it's up to us to really dive deeper within ourselves to learn how we can use those experiences to make us better individuals. And then we take those improvements to make the world a greater place. Does that make sense?
Right on. Exactly.
I'm with you, bro. So tell us a little bit about Dreamcatchers. By the way, everything you just said rocks, because I guarantee you there's people listening that you just described them. They're in that sales role. They're empty. They're going through the motions. They're like, what am I doing? Like you guys just said, people think college is a finish line. Well, they don't realize it's actually just the beginning. It's just a chapter turn in the book. And once you get that out of the way, for some people, they're like, now what? But for other people, they're like, now it's time for me to really do what I want to do. So interesting stuff. But jumping back to my question, tell us about Dreamcatchers.
Essentially, Dreamcatchers are this. I like to distinguish the definition of Dreamcatchers by saying it's more than being just a dreamer, because I'm a firm believer that dreamers, they don't act with a sense of urgency. They never execute on their goals and their dreams. They just have brilliant ideas that toss around and run around in their mind. And it goes a step further than just dream chasers, because I'm also a firm believer that if you spend your entire life chasing after your dreams, then you're running too slow. When I use the phrase and the term dream catchers, it essentially means you fulfill your dreams, you expand your possibilities, you tap into your greater potential, you identify your strengths, you amplify your virtues, you raise the bar in your life on a consistent basis, and you live the life that you truly love. There's so many people that have desires in life, they have aspirations, they create goals, they have a bucket list, but they never act on it. They never execute on these goals. And before you know it, their life just slips by. And then those dreams become regrets. Those goals that they created, the objectives that they set, they become shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I don't know about you, but I would rather live with the rewards of me executing on my goals than to live with the regrets of me living by fear or being insecure and not executing on the things that I truly want and want to live in my life. So essentially what I began to do was I made a goal for myself where I wanted to encourage at least one person every single day. I just wanted to put a smile on somebody else's face. I wanted to help someone else see the greatness that they have from within. And this started on Facebook. I would do posts, and write posts on a day-to-day basis. And many people would reach out to me and say, hey, your words are connecting with me. And I fell in love with being able to encourage others. So to kind of fast forward this whole entire process, 2015, the application Periscope was developed. And if anybody doesn't know what Periscope is, it's a live streaming app that's used through Twitter. And essentially, I started doing broadcast on Periscope, and I started naming the broadcast Dreamcatchers Worldwide. And essentially, it started connecting individuals with this philosophy, this mindset, or this lifestyle, so to speak, where you set goals, you live a goal-oriented life, and you do whatever is necessary to turn your goals into your reality, the dreams that you have into your real existence. And that's just been a train that has been in motion. And I've been blessed to say that it's been inspiring people all over the globe to really revolutionize their existence and even reinvent themselves in some cases. With many people that have reached out to me, they've connected with me and said, you know what, this community has truly gave me permission to be me. And that's what I get excited about. When people, they leave their past in the past, they drop their insecurities and they move courageously beyond their fears, and they go after what it is that they love and what they want out of life. And that's what Dreamcatchers is. It's essentially just tapping into your greatness and living the life of your dreams and inspiring the world at the same time. Because if it's not purposeful, then it really doesn't have any value. We have goals and we have dreams. We want to become the best version of ourselves solely really just to inspire the world. Because as you become the best you inspire others to do the same.
Crystal, I feel you wanting to jump in.
You know what? I honestly feel like David, he has taken so many steps that I feel myself I'm currently taking. The fact that he's found himself reaching out to people via Facebook, via podcast. That's pretty much where I myself am at. So it's great to connect in that way.
Absolutely. Where does your passion reside, Crystal?
Oh boy, looks like you're getting silent treatment. I don't know, maybe she's having tech difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on. She'll jump in. Yeah, we'll see. Well, while we're waiting to see where Crystal gets her passion, you're in the Indianapolis area, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit south. I grew up on the west side, so since we're very close to each other, we've got to connect after this at some point. I've got some ideas that you may be interested in for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are you back, Crystal?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. I'm having a little difficulty, like you said, tech issues myself. But working on it here. Reiterating back to your question, though, passions for myself. I am currently working on the podcast. As you can see, I'm working with Jason Wright as the manager for the show. Aside from that, I'm actually a voiceover. I'm building a voiceover career. I've done a few voiceover recordings for different companies. I'm recording audiobooks right now, so just trying to see where that goes, really.
That's awesome.
you know.
And it's amazing how you brought up where I was really kind of directing that question. One thing that I learned, or I'm continuing to learn on this journey, is when you give yourself permission to start tapping into your passions, you'll start finding passions that you didn't even know existed. You start falling in love with, different areas about yourself that you didn't even know were there. When I first started this thing, I had the high hope and the aspiration of becoming a professional speaker, which I do on a continuous basis. But I've also found that I love telling stories. I love inspiring individuals with inspiring stories. And I've started to tap into different passions, like storytelling, video production, and things of that nature, just different tools to tell stories. But I didn't identify this about myself until I took those first initial steps. And I think many people, they think pursuing your passions and living your dreams has to be one huge step that you take. One day you make the decision that you just leap. But really, it boils down to just taking small steps in the right direction. And you'll find out that those small steps can even be the biggest steps of your life, because you'll start finding out more about yourself, how great you really are, how strong you really are in many cases. For many entrepreneurs and individuals that are stepping further and further outside of your comfort zone, it can become challenging. But if you take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one decision at a time, you'll start finding greater things about yourself. So I encourage those that are listening, you have something that you want to do, something that you want to achieve. It looks big right now because it's a big dream. But you want to make sure you break that goal down into smaller steps and just take a step, and you'll start finding greater things about yourself, and you'll see that the goal is feasible. It's possible. Just break it down.
David, I've got a question for you. And this is kind of off the notes, but I think you'll speak to this well and enjoy it. So for the people listening, what are 3 tips or 3 strategies that you could offer them to implement in the next 30 days to help break through the fear that's been holding them back from doing whatever, new business, career move, whatever the case may be?
Number 1, decide what you want. I know that sounds cliche. I know it sounds simple, but sometimes we make it more difficult than what it really needs to be. Decide what it is that you want. Many people never go after what it is that they truly love out of life because they have too many options. They have too many alternatives. You have to make the ultimate decision on what it is that you want, what goal that you truly want to achieve, what dream that you truly want to live. Decide, make that decision, and don't conform on that decision. Don't negotiate with fear. Don't compromise with discouragement. Make the decision. This is what I want. I want to start this company. I want to start this business. I want to start this nonprofit. I want to pursue this particular career. I want to achieve this particular goal. Decide what it is that you want. Number 2, believe that you can get it. Believe deep down within your core that you can achieve it. We have to remember that there is power in belief, because when you believe something within, that begins to manifest on your outside, your existence, what you do, even in the mindset that you have. When you believe deep down that you can achieve something, that's the power that you need to achieve. After you make the belief and you hold on to that belief, live as if you already have it.
Believers are achievers.
Absolutely.
One question. Live as you already have it. Can you clarify what that means? Just because it sounds very profound, so I just want to make sure I understand what that means.
James Allen once said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And many people, they're trying to attract something that they're not. Say, for example, I'm a student in high school and I have a desire to go to Harvard, but my GPA is at like 1.8. I haven't even taken the SATs or the ACTs. I don't participate in any extracurricular activities. I'm not going to attract anybody from Harvard, any recruiters who potentially give me any scholarships. I have to figure out what the criteria is for my particular goal, and I have to meet those criteria. I have to create a standard for myself and begin to live and act accordingly, because you don't attract what it is that you want. You attract what you are. Many people want to become successful, but they're not living a successful life. They're not creating the habits of success. They're not creating daily routines of success. They don't have the mindset of success. So therefore, they're not going to attract successful opportunities. I know you all discuss, particularly on this podcast, the laws of attraction, and those are so very true on what you think, what you put into your environment, how you act. That really determines what you attract in life. I know sometimes it sounds crazy, but it's so very true. When you start aligning yourself with your goals and your dreams, and you structure your life around those goals and dreams, it's amazing to see those dreams unfold before your eyes, because you begin to live as if you already have it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me, my friend. Makes sense to me.
It does. It really does. And I appreciate you breaking that down. It only makes sense. The old saying, misery loves company. Well, hey, do it in the positive.
Mm-hmm.
Do it in the positive way.
I'm glad you said that. I'm just going to jump in here and go on a tangent. But that misery loves company thing, I never get tired of talking about it because it's so gosh darn important. People get so tired of their life, where they are, where they work, where they live, but they don't realize the people that they keep seeking advice from are the people that are keeping them there. They're surrounding themselves with the wrong people, and they're asking them all the wrong questions.
Yeah.
If people could understand that and apply that to their life and say, you know what, I don't need to necessarily cut you out of my life, but I'm not going to ask you about business anymore because you've done nothing yourself. I'm not going to ask you about relationships because you've been divorced 11 times. If people would
Right.
start focusing those questions, the right questions to the right people, and stick to that consistently, I think people would see big changes and opportunities open up right away. That's the number one thing that I've been seeing lately that's just driving me insane. Well, I can't do this because blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, why are you asking your mom that question? Or why are you asking your brother? You know what I mean? It's crazy, but you've got to surround yourself. You've got to surround yourself with the people that you want to be
Go
like.
to other sources. You're right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like to try to run with a small crowd. That's the power of the mastermind group. I like to run with a small crowd who I feel is always out edging me. And all I want to do is see them succeed, and all they want to do is see me succeed, but it keeps you on your toes. The other night, I was absolutely exhausted, spent, no energy, nothing left in the tank. It's about 1 a.m. Eastern time. I work a lot. And I'm like, I got to go to bed. My wife's like, I got to go to bed. So when I say this, the person listening is going to know who I'm talking about, but jumped on the website of one of my buddies, and he's been working on a new website, and we'll get into that in a future show. And it was so good. It was put together at such a high level. I was like, I'm not going to bed. I've got to continue to push and grind, because if I'm not doing it, somebody else will. And even though we're buddies and I want nothing for the best for him, it just refueled a fire, and I was running off pure passion, absolute passion. And that's the power of the law of attraction. Sorry for the tangent.
Oh no, I mean it's amazing because it's so very true. The bigger the dream, the greater the team.
Absolutely.
You look at sports, and when you have a great player on a team, that raises the bar for his teammates. And essentially, just like you just stated, Jason, it inspires you to strive for more, to become greater, to improve in whatever area that you're working on, so you can compete, so to speak. Not necessarily compete because you're competing with yourself, but so you can actually raise the bar in your abilities. That's why I'm a firm believer you definitely want to stand on the shoulders of giants so you can see greater possibilities. If you're constantly on the surface, you're only seeing surface level success. So when you stand on the shoulders of giants and you're getting mentored and you're connecting and rubbing shoulders by these individuals, this raises the bar of your thinking, and your thoughts are what inform your actions, and your actions determine your results. So if you're raising the bar in your thoughts because you're connecting with great people that are doing great things, this begins to reflect in your actions. And then if you have great actions, you produce great results.
I don't think there's a better example in sports. There's maybe some as good, but not better, than the Chicago Bulls of the early 90s. Unbelievable. I mean, you look at some guys that were, maybe average on other teams, but that group of people together, I mean, you see the results. It's amazing.
Exactly.
Well, this is fun. This has been a lot of fun, and I think it's informative getting the three perspectives. It's interesting. It's kind of like an unplugged show we've done in the past, but instead of being face-to-face, we're all in different places, so it gives it another unique twist. So when you talk to people, whether they're clients of yours or friends or people even reaching out to you through social media, what are some of the biggest, what are some of the most common challenges that you see that people have maintaining and producing a positive mindset? People can get fired up for 15 minutes watching Eric Thomas on YouTube, and then they go back to the old ways. What do you see being some of the biggest challenges with people maintaining that?
Fear.
Absolutely. And what do you think the biggest source of fear is?
Well,
Fear of what,
I
I
think
should say?
I think it goes back to
Essentially,
that self-doubt.
yeah. Well, let me describe it this way.
Okay.
The worst enemy of greatness is by far fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of not fitting in,
Fear of what other people think.
fear of what other people may think, the scrutinism, the haters, the criticism. It's all boiled from fear. And fear never comes out and says, "Here I am, my name is fear." Fear often puts a mask on. It will try to deceive you in so many different ways. But what I have found with so many people is they become so comfortable with the life that they're currently living that they're afraid of leaving what they call normal and to step into something that's different because it's unknown, there's a lot of uncertainties, and there's no guarantee. And fear plays off of those. So for so many people, like I stated earlier, they have high aspirations and great goals, but they settle because of fear.
I agree with you, my friend. It's like people view failure as the end of the game, when in fact it's just the beginning. If everybody would simply accept failure as a realistic option and be okay with that, the world would be a different place.
Well, it's because we've been conditioned to think that way. Think about it from this perspective. When you were in grade school, when you were in middle school, when you were in high school, and you failed a test, how did the teacher respond?
Negatively.
Exactly.
You
So
failed.
this,
That's
if
what
if
you would
this,
get.
and many times, many people define themselves as failures because they made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have this conditioning for a good portion of your childhood, your adolescent years, and your teenage years, that's a hard habit to break as an adult.
Absolutely. You need to be reprogrammed.
You have to be reprogrammed. You have to renew your mind. You have to change the way you think and look at failure as a learning tool. I tell many people when they say, "I'm afraid to fail, I'm afraid to move forward," you have to condition your mind not to believe in failure, but to believe in improvement. Because failure can often be your best friend if you have the right perspective. If you're looking at it from the right angle, when you look at failure, it's teaching you something. It's showing you what you need to improve, what adjustments you need to make, what you need to do differently. But if you walk around discouraged and you feel as if you are a failure, you won't be able to see this perspective. But if you recognize every single shot that you take and every single shot that you miss is another shot closer to you hitting the target, and you open up your mind to see where you can improve, where you can adjust, that's how you create success. You look at the great entrepreneurs and those that start businesses and those that redefine possibilities in the world that we live in. Failure is their best friend. They embrace failure. They don't run from it. They look forward to it because they realize they can learn from it.
Absolutely. I fail so much on a weekly basis, it's unbelievable. Most people
Oh,
wouldn't
it's
have the
crazy.
stomach for it, but it just makes me laugh. You know, I'll think of a new idea or something I want to try, and as soon as I think about it, I'm doing it. I take action very quickly, and if I accept failure as a possible outcome. If I fail, you know what I'm going to do? I'm either going to adjust and keep coming at it, or maybe say, you know what, this perhaps isn't the right area, and focus my efforts elsewhere. And that's part of it. You never know what you're capable of until you try. You may think you want to do something, and then if you don't try, you never know. But if you try, you may say, you know what, I don't even enjoy this. I don't want to do this. Or you may, like you said earlier in the show, do something, and along the way, you may look on either side of the path and say, hey, what have we here? I've never even considered this, but I love this. So my biggest, I'll ask you first, and I'll tell you mine. What's your biggest fear in life?
My biggest fear is not fulfilling my purpose, not fulfilling my calling, to be an eagle that's trapped inside of a cage that's designed for a parrot. When I have wings that I could potentially spread and soar into high heights and to slap high fives with the peak of the mountain, but to never take that leap. It's my greatest fear.
Yep.
Not doing what it is that I was called to do.
Now, I'd say that last line you just said is mine as well. That's why this is such a good show, man.
Yeah.
Well, I get elevation is a must. I get you. You've got a great spirit. You've got a great message and a great vibe. And I think everybody listening can feel the passion. They can feel the power. I love it. I share that with you, man.
Appreciate
what's
that,
next?
Jason.
No problem, man. What's next for you and the brand? Where are you going? What are you trying to shoot for? Between now and the end of this calendar year.
This year, I'm working to publish my first book. I've written plenty ebooks that are available on my website, but I'm working to publish my first book. I'm looking to do that by the middle of the year. I'm also working on quite a few projects. Like I stated earlier, another passion that I do have is video production. So we're working on documentaries and inspirational stories that we're going to tell through video. But essentially, like I stated earlier, I'm seeking to inspire others to tap into their greatness and to live their dreams. So with every initiative that I take and every move that I make with the business and the brand, it's solely designed to encourage and empower others to live their best life. So for 2017, everything is geared towards making the world a better and brighter place with every initiative that we do.
Well, we definitely look forward to that book release, and we'll be sure to be looking out for that,
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell everybody, definitely check David out on Instagram. He does some great videos there. He's got some great videos on his site. With that being said, tell everybody where they can get in touch with you through your social and your website and whatever else you like as well.
You can visit my website. That's www.elevationisAmust.com. Again, that's elevationisAmust.com. I'm on Twitter at D1Gibson, Periscope at D1Gibson, Snapchat at D1Gibson. And then we have the stepchild of Instagram at D2 Gibson. D1 Gibson was taken on Instagram, but I have D2 Gibson on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we certainly, I think I speak on behalf of my whole team here. Crystal can chime in, but we certainly appreciate your time and your story. And I promise
for sure, David.
It won't be the last time we talk.
Oh, yeah, man. It's an honor and a privilege. Definitely appreciate it.
Yep. No
All
problem.
right. We'll be looking forward to hearing all your great works that are be coming up. And, hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have you out again and, be hearing and broadcasting everything that you have for the people to hear. Okay.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We are back to the show. David, thank you, my friend. Crystal, thank you. Now, Crystal, that wasn't so scary, was it? The first time being on the air with the podcast. You've got more in you, don't you? You can tell me later. Well, guys, if you want to check out the website, you can go to intentionallyinspirational.com. That is also the home of the show notes for this episode. You just go to intentionallyinspirational.com/episode 57. You will get David's resources and his website and stuff there. And the show notes just give you an informal little extra about the episode. Maybe it's a little behind the scenes. Maybe it's a little story. Maybe it's something unique that was going on with me before, during, or after the show. So check it out. It's definitely worth your time. By the time you hear this episode, myself and my team will be deep in the works of creating a new page on the website. It's going to be free resources, some that are new and some that you have seen before, possibly rebranded. What we're going to do is we're going to give away a ton of free stuff for the subscribers of the email list. So Inspire Nation, if you don't know it, the email list is called the Inspire Nation Insider. It's obviously free to join, but it is extra content that only you can access. So for the casual blog reader or podcast listener that doesn't want to get on the email list, they won't get access to those items. But I'm telling you now, we've put in tons and tons and tons of time and money. We're talking dozens of hours. We're not talking like 2 or 3 hours. We're talking like dozens of hours and a lot of money as well. But we want to be able to give you content that's valuable. And for the people that are serious about their entrepreneurship or getting their mindset correct with maybe even other areas of life, there's going to be value there for you, so check it out. Well, I appreciate your time, guys. If you have not subscribed to this podcast yet on iTunes, we would love to have you do so, and also leave us a review. That's really helpful. You can also find us on SoundCloud.com. You can check us out on our website, intentionallyinspirational.com/podcast for all of our episodes there as well. And if you guys have any ideas as far as guests you'd like to see come on the show, any shows you'd like to see me on, if you guys would like to talk about anything at all, reach out to me. I'm not hard to find. Appreciate your ear. We will catch up with you next week with another phenomenal episode of the show. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Intentionally Inspirational. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the show on iTunes or check us out on SoundCloud. To check out all of our resources for your startup business success, visit our website at intentionallyinspirational.com. We look forward to seeing you again next week.